Right. Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are all doing well. Yeah. So, I've got some exciting things for today regarding Mothership, especially starting with some things that we've come across in the last week or so. So it's been kind of an exciting week, I would say. That's at the moment there is Zine Quest that continues to go on. So there are some projects on BackerKit there. There are been some interesting things that have come out, and also there's been some really cool posts on the Mothership subreddit. So yeah, g'day Sam, how are you? How was your, what was it? Your second running, I guess, of your current campaign. Hello, Facility. How are you? Hello, Strand. How are you doing? I hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for turning up and showing up. Yeah. Did any of you manage to run or play something in the past week or so? Personally, I've been finishing off this campaign guidebook for my players, which ended up being about 50 pages, which is a bit nuts. And today I've been trying to just narrow down exactly what the cycle of play is. So what happens inside a session and what happens outside a session as well. G'day, Raphael. How are you? Yeah, just wondering what people have been playing, or if people had the opportunity to play something in the past week or so. Or maybe you saw something cool that you wanted to share as well. Because I've got a few things that I'd like to share. So start sharing my my other screen here. And a cool place I wanted to start was actually with this post that I think was put in yesterday. Reading Bloom. Okay, nice. Yes, yeah, must-haves. So some really cool answers, actually. Some that I was familiar with, and then a couple that I was like, oh, okay, I've never heard of this, and have since checked out as well. So what do you hope to do with Bloom, firstly? Are you going to run it in the future? And if you have any other ideas around what you want to do with it? Okay. I always love reading Sam's updates. It was awesome. The crew triggered a stampede of soulless office workers, broke a back and a collarbone trying to escape, barricaded themselves in a bathroom, and sent a well-placed grenade. Well done. Nice. Cool. Yeah, that's right, because you're doing it all players are just describing and you're rolling kind of for them, for lack of a better way of putting it. That's great. I'm pleased that is going well. Right, so it's always funny with a very well-placed grenade makes a huge difference, and just because of course, the amount of damage that it does. So yeah, it's always funny when it's they managed to throw it perfectly. Okay, planning to run Bloom somewhere in April. Cool. And would you run it as a few sessions or something like this, where because you can run Bloom as a one-shot, but yeah, you kind of have to remove part of it and sort of go for the main part of it. if you want to do it in one like 4-hour session. So yeah, I was only a player when that happened. But yeah, I'm curious about your no player roles, and like, is that the first time that you've run something with no player roles, Sam, or have you had a bit of experience with this already? Strand says, we played the second session of for ABH. Kind of messy as I wasn't on top of my game, but the players enjoyed it. I missed a bunch of stuff I wanted to include, but didn't feel like it at that moment, I'm guessing. But we had our first death. Really, stim pack overdose. Wow, okay. That's hilarious. So clearly there was enough, yeah, there was enough injuries going on as well. So, wow, okay. I'm curious about what happened. Like, how was that moment of, you know, obviously you would have had to roll for that sort of thing. So I'm very curious about how that went. Yeah, I've actually never run or played the second part or anything after Greta Base for ABH. So I'm always really curious about how that goes, because when I've read it, I've always thought, okay, how does this work? Like, how does the travel work? How do they get from one to the other? Of course, the vehicle's involved, but like, how do you? I can't remember if I did read about how many creatures and things like that you find. So. Yeah. Multiple session for Bloom. Yeah. I would say that's probably a good way of doing it. I'm pretty sure you should be able to find some after action reports on Bloom, just because it's such a popular module. So you should be able to find plenty of that sort of stuff and figure out, okay, normally people do it in 3 or 4 or sessions. And also you get to figure out what the Warden has included or not. Great. That's an awesome result, Sam. It's such an awesome result that immersion, like having no player roles, is like increases immersion and player interest. Yeah, I think that's an important part, because of course dice is kind of like, you know, you're not really telling a story at that point. You kind of have to react to that story. And so if they are just reacting to what you say and you've just happened to roll something without them having to do calculations and stuff like that, you know, that doesn't really break immersion for you, for them, but it probably just makes it. Do you find it like it's a little bit more admin to do in the moment as well? That's what I'm quite curious about. The first almost death was by the same person, so this is ABH, but he did ram a stim pack into another person to save them. They tried the same on themselves, but the third stim in a few hours was too many. Yes. Wow. That sounds, yeah, that's funny. Wow. Okay. Well, I guess they sort of found out what are the consequences of stim packs going bad and stuff like that. So, sort of like the danger in using them. But yeah, that's quite funny. So, so where are where is the party at the moment, Strand? Like, where did you finish? Without being too spoilery, like just talk about like the location, and then I'll have a good idea about what might have happened. Oh, great. That's a good way of doing it, Sam. So you came prepared, like with those extra tasks, because that's one thing as a warden. It's like, well, this happens now. Roll the dice and see how you react, and you sort of, what would you say? You kind of like give that task to someone else for a while. So that's cool. And then, yeah, and clearly you've got some ideas about like, okay, if they fail, just fail, critical fail, and also like how you can yeah, how you can describe that situation about after, yeah, once that happens, whatever that result might be. So that's cool. Okay, are there any sci-fi books, stories that you recommend as inspiration material for Mothership? I mean, I think one really good place to start is in the Warden's operating manual. I may as well just you, since in the operations manual, there is a section on horrors, and so is it in here? I always forget where this is. Nope. I'll go fishing for it. But one place to start, and you might have already come across this, and you might be asking the question because you're wanting to know other things. Just in, what page is this? On page 55, in the bottom right, there is this list of recommended media. So that's one place that you can start. But are you asking whether there's like other stuff that you think would be interesting? They have a list in the back. Yeah, I imagine I guess they might have a list in the back of, do they have it in the player's guide maybe? They probably mention it in here somewhere. Yeah, there must, I'm pretty sure there'll be a list in here somewhere as well. I think it's somewhere near the back. Nope, I can't find it. Yeah, stole some tables for that purpose. This is talking about like responding back to players after you've rolled. The main hurdle has been ensuring that all variables remain tracked at all times. I've made. Oh, okay, right, okay. So like, okay, what do you mean by variables here? I'm curious about, like, say if I have like my my body save is 30 and I roll a 36, like how are you sort of resolving that situation? If I've like failed it and I've failed it by 6, but do you care about like how much I failed it by or not? Or is it just like failure, critical failure, success, critical success, and then you're able to just sort of describe on the fly what happens? Yeah, sure. Yeah, fair enough. That's fair. Yeah, I'm not too sure whether you'd be able to like straight up just show me, but I'd be super interested in this. You don't have to show me now. I'd be happy to look at it a little bit later. Yeah, for silly, what I would do in your situation, if you're curious about like a particular type of horror, then yeah, well, actually, that should be my question. Is there a particular type of horror that you're curious about? In terms of like, oh, I'm curious about, which is one that I can actually talk about. Like cybernetics and androids and stuff like that, and like sleeves and things like that, then yeah, there's probably a better way of doing it. Is just to figure out, like, is there a particular part, like which one of these horror types are you most interested in? And then you probably could get some recommendations either from the other guys here or even in the subreddit as well. But personally, most recently, what have I been watching? There was an interesting series on Netflix, an animated series, 2 seasons, that was about uploaded, well, basically digitizing people's like personalities and lives. I'm not too sure what the best way of putting that out, and that was called Pantheon. And that was quite, like, I thought that was quite interesting. It was quite cool. What else have I watched recently? It's only like sci-fi stuff that I've watched in the last wee while. To be honest, I've just started like watching other, well, I've got another series that I'm watching with my wife, and then I've got another series that I'm watching alone. Did I like it? Well, I think as someone, like, from a first of all, I thought it was very good. I wouldn't say it was like exceptional. Like, it wasn't quite like must, like I can't stop watching this type of thing. I found that the first season was really good. Like, there was a lot of drama trying to figure out like what is happening. And then the second season is sort of more of like the consequence of, okay, well, this happened and now it's sort of widespread use technologically. So what does this mean to humanity? So I thought it was good, and I would say it would have been a struggle if it was like more than, I think it would have been a struggle if it was more than 2 seasons. Like, it would have been really stretching things. But I think it's worth watching. I would say if you're not enjoying it by episode, well, they are long episodes, if I remember. They are like 45-minute episodes. Yeah. So I'd say, like, if you're not interested in the first like 3 episodes, then I wouldn't worry about it too much. I think you mentioned like The Expanse, Fusili. So The Expanse, yeah, I really like The Expanse. That universe is really, really cool. I love that universe. And I did it the other way around. I read most of the books. I think I read the first 7, because I think there's like 10 or something like that in the whole series. I read the first 7 and then I stopped. And then I watched the Amazon series. And that Amazon series is not quite exactly the same as the books. There are a couple of things that are like kind of like streamlined a couple of things. Like, there's one character that they actually combine between like 2 people and they just make them the same person. And then I think with with the success of the show, they sort of had to like they kind of like cut it at a particular point in the series of books. Like, I think it's like the first like events in the first 5 or 6 books or something like this. I can't remember correctly, but it's not like all 10 books are in the TV series. I remember it's something like that. Yeah. Nothing. Other things that I'm curious about? Not sure off the top of my head. Other things like I'm super keen to like watch or read in terms of sci-fi at the moment, but I'm always keen to find new things, and I'll probably find something to watch anyway. So yeah, very cool. All right, well, what we can do is we can have a look at this must-haves list, which was really cool actually. I've got some really awesome answers. Of course, like there are tons of questions like this on the subreddit. They probably happens weekly, I would say. However, some of the answers are really, really cool. So this first answer is really awesome by this user here, Atamajaki, and has some things that you'd expect: a pound of flesh, gradient descent, hull breach. One thing here, which is like warped beyond recognition, is quite cool. This is one that I haven't played, but I would like to, and this is like a, but it's been around for a while as well. So you can probably read the, so yeah, spoilers if you're if you're curious about these scenarios. But the one that I want to talk about is this one. So I'd never heard of hot stuff on shore leave. This is such a cool module, and I've been reading it a few times. So this was written by Watt here, and Watt is the same person who I believe was involved with creating Cloud Empress, which is like a fantasy setting and rule set that builds on top of Mothership. And yeah, it's a lot of fun, and there is a content warning. There are aspects of it that are regarding like there is sexual content in it, not nudity or descriptions, but just that it happens if you're doing this. So what this is, the key thing is this shore leave part. So there are some really interesting mechanics here where it's meant to be Mothership compatible. It's for like solo journaling and things like this. But there are some really cool mechanics in here. It also includes like an actual station or colony, and gives you some bits and pieces that you can use if you want. It's even got a shop. But the thing that I found, and it has a how to play. So this is like a journaling thing. G'day, Gabrielle. How are you? I'm just talking about hot stuff on shore leave. I'm not too sure if you've come across this. I think it came out a few years ago now. But it had some really interesting mechanics and stuff that I was particularly interested in for, well, a campaign that I have mentioned to you before. So the really cool thing that I found from in here was, firstly, there is a bit of like a training, a bit of a guide to like how you would do training. So here it talks about, I should zoom in a little bit here. It talks about, yeah, you meet certain people, and then as a result, you get particular, you can work on particular skills. And if you do many of these things, if you do it many times, then you actually do get trained in that particular thing. But this was a really cool concept because I thought, okay, if I've got a campaign that's going to many places, maybe there are a few people at these places that include something like this. So that was the first thing. Another thing was, this was quite funny. this was like some like cosmetic surgery type thing. So there was like some quite interesting ideas here. And then there was one, yeah. So they had this in here. It talks about this, this thing. These are things that you can do. So one of them is to, like, at night in this journaling thing, you can sob. And if you sob, you can roll 1d10. And this particular thing happens, you know, it asks you this question, what makes you cry? And you roll a 1d10. And the cool thing about it, and kind of interesting mechanic that I found, was this part here, is that after each of them, is that you roll a sanity save after you've perhaps answered these questions. And you can actually make changes to your actual fear save stat. And so you actually add those points. So for example, if you have, say, 10 stress, you succeed in the sanity save, then you can add that 10 or maybe that 8 or something like this. So yeah, it is similar. I think I prefer the original shore leave, but I think the thing that I really like is that it kind of yes, yep. So it's, yeah, I guess like the current shore leave is kind of like keyed to your stress as well, but you actually roll depending on what type of port you are in, I think. But the thing that I really liked is this mechanic. So I think I would probably do like original shore leave stress relief and how that would go towards your stats. But then I liked the questions. So the questions are really cool because it kind of like, for a campaign, it's like, okay, well, here are some, you know, not forced, but like, here's some character development that you can do. And you do this at every time that you would have shore leave. And some of these questions are awesome. Like if you look at 10, for example, a ghost from the past. Who died? How do they haunt you? What do they want? And for someone who is going to run a campaign, like I could just, they could roll the 10 or whatever. They know that they would potentially cure some stress. And this is how they're doing it, by sobbing in this case. And then I would ask them this question, and then they could, you know, through this resolution of becoming less stressed, you're also like increasing their stats in some way as well. So these are very, very cool. So I thought this was awesome. It's like 30 pages. There's a lot of stuff on here. There's even for the first time I'd ever seen this, there is a hot sauce creator or generator, which is quite funny. So it generates the name, how spicy it is, and also what damage it inflicts, I think, as well. So I thought that was quite funny. So this was very cool. I thought this was really cool. And this is, where am I? So this is in on itch. It's just this one here. And if I remember correctly, I think this is, I'm not sure if this is free or pay what you want. I can't remember, but yeah, it was very cool. Yeah, I think I've only found it on itch. So yeah, it's by what? So there's the same dude who did like Cloud Empress as well. So if you're familiar with this rule set as well. Okay, so that was the first thing I wanted to show. let me see here. We had Pound of Flesh mentioned, another bug hunt. Hull Breach is always mentioned in these. Hull Breach is great. Talks about Epsilon 14. Yeah, Deadweight is still one I haven't played and I haven't read enough, and I'm hoping someone will run it. And then VR Dead is, I've heard very, very good things as well. And Decagon, of course, is by Waco. Let's see. Moonbase Blues always gets a mention. Iron Tomb. So I'm hoping to run that in the future. So yeah, this post is really, really great. So if you're curious about this, I've put the link to this post in the description. But there are some really cool things that are worth checking out in here, and they are not just like sessions or stories or whatever, or scenarios. They are like things that are wider than that. There's some great takes, like, you know, walked beyond recognition, the rest for later, things like this. So there's some people passionate about these different things. Players, always a good suggestion. Yeah, and salvage rights. I think myself and Raphael talked about this a little bit. And there's another salvage one that's, I think, similar, which is called Managing the Expendables, I think it's called. So this one as well, which is about like derelict ships. So yeah, I haven't bought this one, but it's on my list. So yeah, I thought I would show that because that's kind of a cool thing. So definitely check out that that post. The other very cool thing that came out, and this was after Mothership month, and this is I think it's, I don't know how many pages this thing's got. I think it's might be around like 50 pages, I think. But this is Roach Motel, and this is by Norgard. And yeah, this guy's a New Zealander, actually. And so I've always got a soft spot for a New Zealander, as you might imagine. I should actually follow him. I'm not sure why I'm not following him. And so this came out of Mothership month last year, and this is coming out, well, it's been released here on itch. You can buy it, but it is a facility crawl. It is 36 pages, and yeah, a lot of rooms. And what I really like about the design is that you can, the map has a map of the rooms, and inside the room is a description of what you'll find in there as well, which is awesome. So as you can see here, like each one of these spreads here, that is one floor. And then anytime that there is, well, actually it's not just one floor, is that it will either be just floor or it might be a couple of floors grouped together. It looks excessive, yeah, sure. Well, it does say it's you know, at least a few sessions, I would say. And I think this is, if I remember correctly, Yeah, I'm pretty sure that this is like connected up to a pound of flesh, I think, because all of like Mothership month 2025 was connected up to a pound of flesh. So, and so yeah, this gives you a bit of an idea of what this looks like. So, and also gives you some things that might be floor specific as well. So if there's like events down here, and there's a bit of a blurb description, and then it tells you about these things, and then also the lines between rooms talk about the connections and also the type of connections as well. So yeah, Roach Motel, like this. There you go. Yeah, so this was really actually. I had a quick read through it as I backed it in Mothership month, so I was excited to get the first thing that I could actually, use, because the other stuff is coming out a little bit later this year, I think. So, yeah, I thought this would be quite cool to mention. And then what else have I got? And then another thing that is worth checking out is this Dying Hard on Hardlight Station Anthology Edition. Yes, exactly. Yeah, Kenny, exactly. Oh, did you? Awesome. Okay, very cool. So Dying Hard on Hardlight Station is, I think I saw a good description of it before. It was like, oh, I can't find it. I think it was like, yeah, Die Hard in Space. Yeah, that's the one. Die Hard in Space, and I think they actually had like some other description of it too. So it's launching on Kickstarter a little bit late, but this is the Dying Hard on Hardlight Station original was a zine and had, not too sure how many pages it had, but it wasn't terribly long, but I think it was like always really popular with people from what I saw. However, one thing that you can do is that there is a preview that is available to download. And so you can get a feel for what it looks like, what the whole book might look like. And also, I think that there are some, mostly, if not completely written, I guess, some missions in here. So yeah, you've even got Gabrielle, who's actually managed to playtest it and says, "Holy smokes, it is good." So if you wanted to be curious, you could at least take a look. And so this preview here is 48 pages, and I think in the end, I think he wants to make it like close to 200 pages of a campaign setting. So yeah, definitely worth checking out, I would say, and something that you could take a look at, in this very moment if you really wanted to. And what else did I want on there? And then one thing that I came across in the subreddit was an equipment sheet that I will use in the campaign I'm going to run, I'm pretty sure. And this is pay what you want. And I know that I'll need it. I have not gone to a huge amount of effort to figure out like how exactly it works, but there is this idea of like having like capacities for different types of containers. So a container could be like a belt or pouch, could be like a backpack as well. And also each of those things having some sort of capacity. 28 pages. Thank you, Gabriel. Yeah, I think with one-shots, an equipment sheet, you probably don't really need to worry about it too much. But with like a campaign, I mean, there are some times in one-shots when you're like, okay, how much is this guy carrying? This is like, So there's always that. Whereas in a campaign, of course, there's more likelihood that you're going to find something and you're going to use it in future sessions. So having some sort of like, okay, here's something that here's some framework that we can at least have and understand between the players of how much we can actually carry, then that's going to be super useful, I think. And it even has like, your current storage, for example. So maybe you store it in a particular place that's not on your ship. It could be somewhere else, perhaps. So yeah, I'll have to figure out how this exactly works. It does have some notes in the bottom here about like sort of like the sizes of each type of equipment. So I'll have to do a bit more reading there. But yeah, is there something that you've played recently, Gabriel, that or maybe run as well? I'd be curious about that. But yeah, those are the things that I've sort of come across in the past week, I would say, that I wanted to share. So a bit of like a speed run of MoSH stuff, and hopefully a little bit of variety in there. And yeah, anyone else come across some interesting MoSH stuff that I haven't mentioned, or? I always love these this art style. It's very, very cool. So yeah, kudos to like Thomas actually illustrates these as well, I think, if I'm correct. I can't see here. But yeah. So yeah, those are some things that I've been checking out recently. So I had on this list in the description of this video, there is a link to the subreddit post about things that people need or recommendations. And I'd say most of them are pretty well known, but there are a couple of like gems that you might want to check out. And then there's these ones are the ones that I checked out here. So this hot stuff on shore leave, Roach Motel, dying on hard light station, and this equipment sheet are the things that we checked out. So if anyone wants a little bit more detail on those, let me know and we can talk about them a little bit more. Otherwise, we can start being a bit creative, which is the next sort of section. Because I'm sort of curious about, with this campaign that I have, which is about the party being on a ship with as space truckers, is that they'll go to lots of different places, some colonies, some stations, some sort of like S-class stations, all the way down to, of course, like C-class and X-class locations as well. And I was sort of curious about like, okay, I've gone through, for all of these systems and colonies and stations, they all have names. They all have some locations in them. There are different factions that control different pieces. Sure. Yeah, I'd be, no, that's totally fine. Have I considered it? To be honest, I haven't, but I would. And I would be keen to set that up. It'd be easy for me to set up. I've set up a couple. Yeah, I agree in terms of the Mothership Discord. I do find it like a bit overwhelming. I'm not too sure what other people think about the Mothership Discord. Is that, of course, there is tons of information in there. There's so much interesting information in there. There are some sections that are great. There are other sections that I've never opened, to be quite honest. But I would be curious what people's opinions are of it. And because personally, I find like reading through the subreddit, I find that a little bit easier. But of course, if you're looking for a game or you are looking for a game or just looking for like after action reports, then the Discord server is really, really great. Let me remind myself. And there are some awesome, like really great, like more informal discussions. But yeah, I do agree with like the crowded aspect of it. But yeah, I could set that up. I'd be happy to set that up. And yeah, and like over time, I'd be curious about how like the different like well, basically like what I'm asking is how, like what would the extra value of that be as well? Like if you had a Discord which was, yeah, obviously not having, I don't even know how many people they've got in there. It's a lot. But I'd be curious about what you see. Yeah. Let me see. So just posted and read the ABH thread on Discord so far. Yeah, like the ABH one is just massive, and people ask lots of random stuff, and it's a great place if you want an answer. Someone will give you one, but if you're just reading through that channel or thread or whatever it might be for ABH, like it's just going to have so much random stuff in there. It's going to be really hard to pick out what's actually useful to you. Yeah. Yeah, I agree, Facility. Yep. So the official MoSH Discord channel helped me a lot with the prepping for Epsilon 14, but it can feel a bit overwhelming if you're looking for general inputs. Yeah, I would agree. I think it can be really hard because there is so much stuff in that, maybe like in the general channel, and people are just like doing really quick answers to that, and it can get really lost and can't. Yeah. The official server doesn't really have a dedicated space for homebrew. I think a small server specific to Wardens and homebrew would be complementary in these weekly streams. Cool. All right. Yeah, I agree with Sam with that. Could make for good stream content. Yeah, there could be some stuff where it is about like, of course, like I ask people in this moment, what are some things that you've been playing or whatever? or what are some things that you've seen in the past week or something like this, is that then, that Discord could be kind of like this list here. So there could be a channel where it's just like new things. I was considering something of some sort of way of capturing recent news or things that I've come across recently, just because I spend too much time looking at Mothership stuff, basically. So yeah, I think that would be a good addition. I'd be happy to set that up, and I'd be happy to set that up. And then, of course, like, I won't ask now, like, how do you exactly want to? I think they could work together, Gabriel, as well. Like, they could be like a newsletter could be like a curated version of it, and maybe a bit more well written. Whereas the Discord could be just like throwing recommendations into a particular channel, and it doesn't have to be from a particular person. But yeah, I think a newsletter is something that I have been thinking about doing something on. Like, I was looking on like Substack or anything like this. That could as well. So that could be kind of interesting too, about how putting those together. And yeah. All right. Yeah, some food for thought for sure. So I think first step would be Discord server. And then yeah, first step would be Discord server, and then can think about how this information could be packaged into like some sort of newsletter or something like that. Yeah. Yeah, because I have read like a few things around, like, having something that is not just like the live, having something that's outside that and allowing for conversations to happen outside the stream as well. So that could be another reason also to have the Discord server. And I think as the channel grows, there's going to be more and more opportunities and more sort of like demand for these sorts of things. And I think it'll be be kind of cool. And with the idea that whatever is in there is very much for like trying to help people with playing already existing modules, or they're creating something themselves and just want to ask questions. And I'm aware that there's going to be a lot of overlap between whatever is in the Mothership Discord, whatever is in the Mothership subreddit. But it could be a bit more of like a community around the channel as well. So with that focus of like just trying to help people out, and just making people's games better, basically, and trying to ensure that they, trying to make them as immersive as possible and think about how they can improve how they run their games, and or they just want people's opinions about what they're planning to do, and maybe they don't feel so comfortable about putting it into a Discord that has thousands of people in it, or onto a subreddit, because I know that some people are hesitant to use Reddit, and I would say that is, in some parts of Reddit, that is I would say that's understandable, very understandable, I would say. But yeah, And yeah, I'm definitely open to what it looks like as well. So I know I've just thrown out some ideas, but I'm curious about what other people might, how other people might want to use it, and what other value that they see in something like that too. So yeah. Well, thanks, Sam. Thank you very much for throwing out your tangential idea. Yeah, you never have to apologize for being tangential. I'm definitely open to all tangents, and I do it myself too. So absolutely happy. Roger. Yeah, I guess, yeah, because I know I'm aware this is a bit like meta talking about my own channel while I'm live streaming, but in the past couple of weeks, I've had a couple of conversations with people who have created things for Mothership, and they are curious about like whether I would showcase those things. So that is kind of an interesting conversation that I'm thinking about at the moment, and I'd be curious to see what people thought, whether, you know, if I released a video, for example, that was a paid promotion for a particular module, would that be a problem? And second, if it was a paid promotion and it was like part of a live stream, so like say if it was maybe one of the things that I've mentioned here, and whether that was the case. So anything that I've mentioned on any of my streams have not been like paid promotion at this moment. So, but it's something that, you know, as a creator, that, you know, it's a question that I'd be curious about, whether how people feel about it. Yeah, I'm guessing it wouldn't be a huge problem, apart from like as long as I make it very clear. No, it wouldn't be different. I think if it's a live stream and it's like mentioning like something like this, the only difference would be perhaps like how much I can show of it. I think that would be the key thing, because often, like if I've not bought it, for example, but someone has given me like a review copy, is that I would be very careful about, okay, well, how much can I show and things like that, and how much can I talk about it. In terms of like on a video, for example, like I'm always hesitant to show something in a video by itself that, you know, how with a lot of my like Warden guide videos, they are much more like, okay, here are the annotations that I have in the margins that I've written to help me run this game. That's how I kind of see a lot of those Warden guides. It's like, okay, well, everyone can read the guide. Sorry, everyone can read the module itself, but here are some extra notes that people would need. So if I was to produce a Warden's guide for something like that, where someone's gone, oh, hey, could you do this for the channel? Sorry, could you produce a video like your Warden guides? Then it would be like that. So it's not really reviewing, because I don't really see what I'm doing as like reviewing stuff. But yeah, it's a question that's kind of, a question that recently has come up, where it's like, okay, well, people are actually emailing me and going, hey, I've got this thing, you know, and some of them are like, oh, it'd be great if you could show it. And others are like, you know, a bit more curious about, okay, well, you know, is there a paid thing for this? So a bit of a ramble. And yeah, of course, you know, there's a small group of you here, and I appreciate the comments as well, like especially the direct feedback too, which is really good. As far as I'm concerned, and judging from the responses here, is that it's not a problem as long as it is said that it's clear, and YouTube forces you to do that anyway. Oh, Peter, hello. Yeah, I think that's the challenge, right? The balanced feedback. I think what I would say is that a lot of the videos that I produce, the longer form videos, they are not they're not like really reviews. I'd just say like the annotations, like for notes that I need to do it. Sure, Strand, that's a good point. Yeah, it does help a little bit, like people pointing out, oh, hey, I've done this new thing. And of course, like another good place to find those things are in the Mothership Discord. There's like a third-party promotion. I think there's a third-party promotion channel in there. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. But yeah, no, thank you, Peter. Yeah, thank you for commenting as well. And that I'm not sure if I've seen your name in here. So, oh, cool. Well, that's awesome. That's great feedback. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, these Warden office hours are a bit rambly, but I'm glad that they've been kind of useful to you. But yeah, of course, like please share what you're playing and things like this. I'm always happy for those types of conversations too. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't really expect that conversation, but thank you for listening in. Right. Making it, Strand, you're making it sound like, you know, there's some sort of like bait and switch thing that's going on. So, but yeah. But yeah, is there any like a question that you would like to put out? Curious about like Mothership, or there's something that you're curious about how other people play a certain part of Mothership, or maybe there's a particular module that you're curious about. And yeah, I'd be curious about a conversation about that. I mean, originally I had thought about like creating some stuff, but I'm quite happy to have a conversation about whatever. Yeah, I know. I'm just as a New Zealander, we assume people are being either cheeky or sarcastic, and if something could be read that way, then it would be taken that way. And it's not like you said, it's not negative. It's just more of just like we will just assume you're trying to like, you know, make it as a joke and like in a teasing way, I guess is probably a best way to put it. Why not both? Yeah, I'm not sure. What are you referring to there, Peter? I'm not. Are you? You might be just replying to something else, but yeah. Are we going to start talking about cheeky? And yeah, it can be cheeky and negative. That's true. I'm not going to make any stereotypes about German humor at all. But yeah, that's good fun. But yeah, I'm curious if there's anything that you've come across recently. Like, is there like a new module that you come across, or something that you use a lot, maybe? So I know that there are some modules that I quite like to use. Irish living in Irish, right? Yeah, that's yeah. Imagine that would be interesting. It's like yeah, that would be an interesting challenge. Yeah, for the culture rude. The culture exchange, I imagine, is quite interesting at times. Let me see here. Ooh, I don't know these. So I personally haven't run a homebrew of Prospero Stream. To be honest, I've only used kind of some elements of it. So like I haven't even read the whole thing, but I know that for my current campaign, I found it extremely useful the last 5 or 6 pages to produce what type of station something, and then thinking about the like what kind of class of station it is, and then also what are some things that you'd expect on the station, because there's a D100 table that has about 7 or 8 columns, and each column, like one is for like trade, one is for like religious locations, another one is for what is it, like mining locations, and another one is for corporate / research. So I can't say I've had that experience of running something homebrew of Prospero's Dream. But yeah, did you pick up anything from the Mothership month last year? Because a lot of those modules that will come out in the next year or so, they will include things related to Prospero's Dream. And something that I showed before, which was that Roach Motel, that one has like a direct link to Prospero's Dream. So yeah, you should definitely check out some of those things related to the previous Mothership month. A lot of them aren't out yet, so you won't be able to like pick them up and play, apart from Roach Motel, which has been released. Oh, I should say, it's the one that I have backed that has been released so far, whereas the other ones will be, I think, like all coming out at the same time. But yeah, I'm curious about Wicked Worlds though. Oh, very cool. A 3-zine bundle. Oh, cool. Got funded easily. Nice. All right. What's in the bundle? Okay, 3 different planets. Hex crawls. Okay, very cool. Oh, nice. Right. So like some different settings. Oh, that's very cool. So you're heading to this, what's this yellow one? over here, Mycos. Oh, I can even look, and it's great. Okay. Mycos. Spores, hive minds, and war. Sounds interesting. Lush wild world. Teams with life. Billions of years of evolution. Different sapient fungi, right? Right, okay, interesting. Nice. Planet goes through seasons. Oh, very cool. Wow, they've got like a lot of description in here for these, which is awesome. So if you're curious about what I'm looking at, it is this Wicked Worlds that Peter has mentioned. That looks very, very cool. So I imagine from these, like, yeah, I imagine that there are different parts where there's like sometimes you can like take parts of these zines apart and then put it into another zine. Another zine. Okay, so you're doing a hex crawl. Yeah, I haven't run a hex crawl, although I'm pretty sure someone must have, who's here, run a hex crawl. Must be green, I guess. Yeah, this looks really cool, actually. Yeah, as soon as I see like spores or anything like this, I always remember another module, which is this one. This a fistful of spore pods, I should say, and which is like a gold rush Wild West. Is it one shot? I think it's only like I think it is just a trifold, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Yeah, pretty sure it's just a trifold. So yeah, anytime there's like spores, I always think of this particular module. Just a fistful of spores. So this is the same people who wrote, well, it is Joel Hines, who did Desert Moon of Karth, which is a great planet sandbox as well, and then the Tide Moons of Mani, which is like a water world. And Desert Moon of Karth, you can kind of imagine a bit of like a Western theme desert and some weird stuff going on, as you can imagine. Yeah. Well, I wish you good luck for your hex crawl. It sounds very cool. But yeah, I'm curious a little bit more about this, to be honest. So have you run other stuff out of these 3 books, Peter, or is this like the first planet that you're going to? So when did they do this? So the last updated very recently. Ooh, I just saw it. think it was like 2024 or something like this. This will be the first. Okay. Oh, that's cool. So I got a planet map generator, okay, and terrain tables, right? Okay, so there are some generating stuff here as well. Vehicles, all right, that should be interesting. Right, okay. So if you want to run it like as the zine is written, then you can have the fungi like competing for territories and competing for space, I imagine. That's quite cool. And so depending on where the party is, then they could be like moving in between sort of these different territories as well. Yeah, for sure. Yep. Yeah, so as you traverse the planet, and yeah, of course, like if you're doing anything that is something like this, where it's sort of a bit more campaign like, over the first 3 or 4 sessions, you're going to have to find out how it works, and you go in with your best guess of how something might work, and then you might just have to adapt it a little bit as time goes on. And yeah, always just go in with your best of intentions as much as you can. I always find I always find like a bit of like a list of what's going to happen, like what happens like in session. Does everything only happen in session? Do some things happen outside of the session? I know with my campaign, since we're playing on Discord, and we always play on Discord, and we're reasonably reasonably active on that Discord server, is that then is that there's more opportunity to have things happen outside the session. So when you actually get to the session, okay, this is where most things happen. And then outside the session, it's like, okay, here are some decisions that you guys need to make. And then and then not having that every week. So I'll be having sessions every, like once a month, maybe once every 4 weeks, or depends. And so once those decisions are made, then it's like, okay, well, I can run the next one if you give me like a week to prep the next session, whatever that might be. So I always find if you have like some sort of some steps to what will happen. No, don't. No one else is chiming in, so don't worry about it. Yeah, no, I'm happy, and like I said earlier, like I'm happy to speak on tangents about these different things. So, but yeah, like I'm trying to allude to is that just having almost like a run sheet is to go, okay, these are the things that as a party and warden we need to we're going to check off in the session, and these are the things that we're going to check off outside the session. And of course, if you don't have the option to do things outside the session, then you've got to like push that into your session, and decide whether that happens at the start of a session or whether that happens at the end, or some things happen at the start and some things happen at the end. So like, you know, once the session finishes, if there is some sort of like epilogue or for any resolution to maybe a mission that they've just completed, then that needs to happen kind of at the end of the session. But stuff beforehand, you know, it could be, you know, maybe they're buying stuff, maybe they're, you know, if they're in like a city setting. But on a planet, yeah, it's going to be interesting because it's a bit more of like a like you said, like traversing across the planet. So yeah, sounds really interesting. I'd be super curious how it goes. And it would be really interesting whether you have some ideas around like what are the motivations for them staying on the planet? And I'm guessing already you've made some decisions around, okay, well, they are going there for some reason, but what's keeping them there? Like, is there some like uh, overall goal I'm imagining that they are there for, and then do they just go after that, or is there like a series of objectives that they have on the planet, or things happen on the planet and then they go do something else, or whatever? I'd be super curious about what you do in that regard. But yeah, thanks for pointing this out because I have not seen this at all. I always find it funny, like looking at like the backers and recognizing different icons, people's profile pictures. But yeah, it looks great. Warden edition, okay. Oh, okay. Wow. That's awesome. Thanks for pointing that out, Peter. That's a great thing. I think this probably must have been released, or sorry, it must have been on Kickstarter, like just before I started really started playing Mothership. Cool. So it looks like they are, yeah, fulfilling these things. That's awesome. Very cool. Now, all right, so they've created just this one project. I'm always curious about what other people have made as well. It's always a fun thing. Very cool. One thing that I did forget to do that I thought that could be quite cool is that I did talk about this dying hard on Hardlight Station. Is that if I find the right link, it does actually have a trailer, which is kind of cool as well. Where is it? Sorry, my incessant scrolling is not great, but so yeah. Yes. Yep. Yeah, so do I. I just don't have it on this particular account. Like I'm using a couple of accounts, but and Gabriel, who was here earlier, he said that he was playtesting this. So, but yeah, for those who haven't seen it, then I'll click and play it. Yeah, very cool. I think one thing that I always forget is that I'm not too sure if people are aware of this. It's a YouTube channel, and also I'm pretty sure their music must be available in other places, which is like that audio. And you could hear it maybe in the background of this video. But they do some really cool music, and I think a lot of it, I'm trying to remember if like the use cases in terms of like if it has like creative, I'm not sure if it's got like Creative Commons or something like this, but it does allow like some like easier use for different projects. So I know that Nobody Wake the Bugbear have used it in some of their introductions. I'm not too sure about like during the actual plays, but they've definitely used it as part of their introductions to whatever the introductions to the episodes for their playthroughs. I should be clear of that. Yeah, you'd be able to find some. Pretty sure there would be some like actual plays of Dying Hard on Hard Light Station. Yeah. So it's a while ago, but yeah, you'll be able to get some ideas about what it looks like and how what the vibe could be as well. Yeah. That's a cool find, actually. So thanks for that, Peter. If there's anything else that you guys want to check out, I had promised to do some like items and things like this. So I think might just make a quick list here. It doesn't have to be too extensive, but previously we'd had a conversation about like different locations that you might find on different stations and colonies. And so it'd be kind of cool to have some like different items and things like this that you might find in some different situations. So I might actually grab that list and I'll chuck it here. So like a fuel stop. I'm sort of imagining like some sort of like convenience store, some sort of like weird Slurpee. would always be quite fun. Maybe like neon weird Slurpee. So they'll probably like sell tools, like cleaning stuff. Some foods. Foods. There are some. Peter, you'd be interested. Now that I think about it, what is it called? Dim. Where is it? I have to do it the long way, I think. Tacky. Nice. Yes, that is going on there. Not sure if it'd be tacky knives. Yeah, trying to think about like what would those novelty things be. Let me see. I should go this way. This one. Yeah, this is that you should check out, Peter. Is that this is set on Prospero's Dream, and this paragraph might give you a bit of an idea of the idea. So I'm not too. I always forget how to pronounce the X in like Mandarin or Cantonese, but Xiao Long Bao is a trendy new grub spot on Prospero's Dream that serves homemade dim sum. Customers agree. Head chef Uncle Bao makes the best soup dumplings this side of the Milky Way. But there is a reason Uncle Bao keeps his secret recipe so close to his chest, and there's a reason his competitors are dying to steal it. Do you want to learn how the mince meat is made? The truth will make you sick to your stomach. Xiao. Okay, Xiao. Thank you, Sam. So yeah, if you're interested, Peter, this would be a good option as like a bit of a fun, you know, if you've gone, like, I imagine if you're going to these planets and there's like, you know, you're doing this like traversing of the planet and you want to just to have something that's a bit more like quite different. So body horror and investigative mystery. And it's a one shot. So it's something that you could just put in there. Careful what you wish for, Facility. You're not sure what it's made of. But yeah, this could be something that you could fill in with the game where they go back to Prospero's Dream. You know, they are hungry, perhaps. They are looking for some good food after going to a planet where they've been, you know, looking at mushrooms for too long, maybe. But yeah, so it's just a trifold. And it even comes with a TV ad, which looks quite fun. Yes, indeed. All right, so maybe I should have some yeah, some, just as a bit of a laugh, maybe I should put it in here. Uncle Bao's dim sum, and this should be, let's say that the product has been sold to other systems. So this would be, what would be the right way to put this? Would be, yeah, like heat and eat or something like this. Pack of, how many dim sums? I don't know, it comes in packs of 12 and 24, something like this. Way to carry on a campaign and to displace the mind altering. Yep. Yeah. And that is set on Prospero's Dream. So that way you don't have to worry about the traveling stuff as well. And I think that was the purpose of some of the Mothership stuff from last year, is like, okay, what else is going on Prospero's Dream, so that then you can have a campaign like yours which goes to other places, but when you come back there is stuff going on and there's stuff for you to run that is not just pound of flesh factions and parts of the station and things like that. It's like, okay, here are some stuff that you could pick up and run just because you are there. So yeah, cool. Well, I'm glad I could give like a good recommendation there. And plus, it's a nice added item to things that people might come across in my campaign, which is nothing to do with Prospero's Dream. But yeah, they will get some of Uncle Bowdimsum if they wish. So yeah, video poker for like a casino. Maybe some like other gambling games. What else? Tacky knives. Okay, so what else? What else do you see? Like, do you see like the? Trying to think of when I went to the United States last. Of course, this is what I'm talking about. The themed shot glasses, of course. Yeah, hats, t-shirts. Uh, 3D laser engraved acrylic, yes. Yep, nice. Laser, is it laser cut? Laser engraved. Laser engraved cubes. Just had to think about fry. Oh yes. Okay. Vending machines with food of varying age / quality. I think that would be fair. Yes, the wish you were here. That could also be on the t-shirt as well. This is what you send your enemies, right? Like, or like, you know, teasing your friends. My friend visited Prospero. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I need to go through. Yeah, because I'm not too sure about you guys, but I remember, was it like a couple of years ago? The ads when I was going through Facebook, which is not very often, like the ads in there were always like, here's this t-shirt, and it was always like this job role, and then like some sort of like what it really means to be this particular job role or something like this. It was always a bit weird. And they were always like kind of like jokey. So I think more of those would be close. Yeah, so my friend. I think that would be quite a fun one to actually have like an NPC like wear that particular shirt, Sam. I think that would be quite fun. Vending machines and strange locations, maybe. Go on, M20. Nice. I was actually saying to my to my players that since they are space truckers, they must have like a trucker cap of some description. Pairs of 4D fuzzy dice for the windshield. Yeah, nice. Fuzzy dice. 4D. Not six side, but 4 side. Yep, that's nice. Electronic Trance House Club. The Clerks Mediocre. Oh, that's awesome. I like that. Oh, I have an idea for that. So the Hypercube. Yeah, fair call. All right, so I was too stupid thinking about it as just like a D&D thing. Sorry, like a TCRPG dice. That could be quite fun. Like they just have this thing the whole time. Going back to the Clerks mediocre demo tape. Were you involved in what was it called? Under and Over, Sam? Is it Under and Over? Over Under? I never remember which way it was. Were you involved in that during Mothership Month, where they played this like live action Mothership, like live action on Prospero's Dream Discord server, basically? I'm curious if other people were involved in that, because that was I got sent like an audio clip of this guy doing this rap about something that was happening on like during that game. Let me see if I can find negative. Oh, yeah, fair enough. Did you avoid it, or you didn't know that it was happening? Over under, I think. Yeah, it was real-time play-by-post on Prospero's Dream. So yeah, that happened during Mothership Month, and you belong to, well, you could belong to one of the factions on Prospero's Dream, and yeah, each faction had, of course, like I'm not too sure if they were the exact goals that are in Pound of Flesh, but they had different goals, and then they made like specific objectives for you to meet those particular goals. Unfortunately, I was part of Stratemeyer, and we got destroyed, got taken apart about 2 weeks into it, if that, probably. And it was running from, I think it ran for 4 weeks, I think. So it went from October 14th to, November 11th. And it was just this separate server, and you could go to different channels that were part of your faction. And then there are also channels that were for particular locations around Prospero's dream. So actual locations in A Pound of Flesh were represented by a channel. And so you could like role play chatting to someone in a bar or something like this. And yeah, and then one of my friends sent me a video or an audio clip of someone just rapping about, this is so like meta. The rap was someone, a character, rapping about another character from that game. And yeah, and then that's probably what I could use for that clerk demo tape, perhaps, because it's like about, I think about like a minute 30, minute 40 or something like this. But yeah, that was kind of insane. I left after about a week because it was just like taking up way too much of my time. Like it just, it felt like work after a while. So I didn't end up continuing. But there was some pretty funny events and a lot of like open corruption and betrayal, which was quite funny. But yeah. Okay, going back. I'll put that in here, which was the, it was like a rap, I think it was. What else we got here? One thing I haven't really thought about is like medical centers and stuff like that, how to sort of handle the medical industry on different stations. Like I imagine every station or colony would have something. And then if it is like a C-class port, they would just have like a rudimentary, something very basic. B-class, you would have like a hospital plus maybe one or two other things. A-class, you would have like the sort of like cyberware, slickware type stuff, and cosmetic stuff. And then S-class port, you would have like everything. You would have, yeah, this cosmetic surgery, and you could go pretty hard. And then the X-class stuff might be just random, like whatever might be there, and whatever is there is going to be, yeah, less than ideal, I would imagine, for things like that. What else? You always have like the belt buckles as well. Maybe like some like funny boots and stuff like that. I guess sort of related to that would be like some sort of like other like custom like spacesuits. Yeah, one thing that I wanted to look at was like, how do the players find out about like news that is happening kind of like around them? I'd really like them to have a way where they could just like get some news, like, because they will be within a sector. In that sector, there would be about 50 systems. Yeah, about 50 systems, maybe 60. And there's going to be things where like factions will be doing things kind of like around them. So so I'm trying to figure out like how did news, like some sort of like bulletin to the ship as they are arriving in a new place. So that bulletin needs to say, sort of like, for lack of a better way of putting it, like national news or system, local system news. And then it needs to have like sector-wide news. I think that's the way to do it. So local system, if this is like C class, this could be like a new a new shop opened, new shop, new restaurant. If this is B class, this might be like new major corporation opens something. Wider effects on the sector causing issues locally. Yeah, so the devices that I'm thinking that they would have is, I think, I'm not sure if I showed you this, but there is a there's this zine called Across the Web. Yep, I think the you could do banded information or rumor based on the type of person you talk to, similar method. I think there might be elements of that. Oh, thanks for joining, Peter. Much appreciated. I hope some of that was helpful, and it was great to thank you for the recommendation and the pointing out of that stuff that you're looking at, that Wicked Worlds. So yeah, much appreciated for that. Something I hadn't come across before, so it was very cool. But yeah, hopefully catch you in the next one. Will be a similar time, I imagine. So yeah, Sam, I imagine for the rumor-based stuff, I think there would be an element of that. But how does that work in gradient descent? Like, if I remember correctly, they like, are you talking about like the rumors that other people who have dived, they would tell you rumors about what is going on within the mega dungeon, and they would only tell you that if you're back at like the bell or whatever. Is that right? I've only seen like one actual play of this. Going back to your question, Strand, in terms of the devices, is that there is this really great module called Across the Web, and this is has a little bit about like how you might implement the internet and radio. Right, okay, split by topic, banded by who you talk to. yeah, I think for that, I have an idea around how I might do that, Sam, and I'll tell you that in a sec. So Across the Web is a 15-page zine for Mothership that brings internet and radio to the great and isolating expanse of space. This zine, so they have something what's called like a catch unit, and that catch unit makes it so there are ways that they can communicate across space, but I think there's also aspects of it where you could even create like a job board out of it. And the device itself, a lot of them are mentioned that this might, I'm not sure if it's always going to be things that are on your ship, but you might have this device that might be at like a colony or something like this. So you can't quite, might not be easy to read here, but it says easy to install at most stations, docks, and ports. So you might be able to install on a ship. I'm not too sure. I haven't really read it close enough, but that's how I imagine that's one way of gaining news. And then the other way of gaining news, or at least like finding out more about what's going on, is I had this, found this interesting idea from actually from another game. Where is it? Oop. Oop. Where is it? Here. So this is actually something that I was talking with Gabriel, who was here earlier. He might be still here, I'm not sure. And is to include like between sessions, because we'll have the ability to do like some just like written documentation, is that I'm hoping to implement something like this, which is a discovery mechanic. And so a PC investigates a question about some lore. So this is actually from Ken, but so I'm going to adapt it a little bit to Mothership. So the player must have like a clearly formulated question they'd like to answer and some sort of source. So in this case, I'm not really sure how I might implement source here and whether that might be needed. So they have to have a question, and a source can be like a person. It can actually be like a book as well. It could be something else. And so that could be another way that you could get rumors and things like this. And I'm hoping that every time they do go to a location is that they will interact with some of the places and people there. And they have some motivation to do that. The main motivation is that within the campaign, they basically need to find jobs. They are space truckers. They are paid to move shipments, legal shipments between places. But the way that they really make money is, taking advantage of them being in a particular place and those places having jobs. And most, if not all, people who they talk to will have something for them to do, or they will know someone else who will have something to do. So it's not quite rumors in that way, but that could be a way that I could implement rumors, is that, okay, well, that they will be going around talking to people, and there'll be some rumors about this particular system, or there'll be rumors about the sector as a whole, or there might be rumors about a particular faction or something like this. So yeah, I'd be curious about how if I could implement something like that well. So it does remind me to add a note to one of my documents that I'll do later. But yeah. But yeah. What else have we got here? So then A class, like issues affecting, I guess, like wealthier parts of society, as they are generally A class stuff, but also S class would be the same. Maybe like bigger corporations rather than people, and then people can be in the S class stuff. Then sector-wide. So this would be like faction altercations or faction conflicts. There can be people at the landing areas and stations or colonies who go around and sell newspapers or the space equivalent, yeah, or give out advertising flyers. Or look for people to hire who landed. Yes, I think, yeah, I think that might be the way to do it, is that sort of like, you know, pushing it a little bit. I think for like C class, B class, and A class stations, I think having someone like that, because I always imagine, like, whenever I've traveled, you know, when you go to an airport and you land in the airport, there's always like tons of people, you know, who are, you know, offering you a taxi or offering you like tours and stuff like this. So it would be like the equivalent of that in many places. And then I think I would just sort of take what's appropriate, because at like a C class port, these are very much just like an outpost with hardly anything in it. So maybe there's not a lot of people doing that, but definitely at the others, like A and B class in particular, I imagine there would be people just like, yeah, trying to take advantage of new people coming to that location. Maybe they do not know the place very well, and taking advantage of that fact, whether it be for legitimate business or whether it be for not so legitimate business and trying to like scam them or something like this. So I think that's a good idea, to be quite honest. So I like Strand, something that I definitely should consider, because it just allows like a little bit more flow, where through this person you can kind of allow this person to give a little bit of like an introduction. Yeah, of course, you've got to have like the currency exchange or some sort of thing, you know, even if there's not a different currency, just say, oh, you know, we use this other currency here, type thing. That's going on the list, I think. So what was it, like the timeshare the timeshare stuff, where they like force you to go to that what do you call it, that seminar. I think that could be quite fun as well, because there are a couple of places within the sector that I've created that you could probably apply that to, especially like S class ports. What else do you see? As we walk out, taxis, tours, money exchange. Yeah, I'm not too sure if I gotta have your cup. So I'll just chuck this in here because it's kind of like related to these. Yeah. Oh, you gotta. Oh yeah, you gotta have like the scams. The what are they called? Yeah, all the like the table games, right? Like yeah, cup and ball. I was thinking of the one where it's like the cup and the string, and you try and throw it onto the cup. But you're talking about the one where they have like the 3 cups and you know they're hiding. It's like, what is it called? Like shell game, I think it's called. I'll know for later. Yeah, some sort of like some rigged card game as well. You know, I got to find other things for them to spend their money on. So, all right. I think that's good. I'm pretty happy with that. So, unless there are some other questions, like if people want to yell out for by people who want to take advantage of new visitors. Advertising. What did you mention, Strand? Advertising, newspaper. Advertising newspaper stuff. Cool. Well, thank you for joining me. I don't have too much else. Yeah, and thank you very much for helping me out with some random stuff that people might find in the campaign. It should be a lot of fun, especially enjoying some of these like scam games and some of these like souvenirs, etc. They should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to those. But yeah, if anyone does have any questions, this is a last call, I guess is the way to put it. And then I will head off very, very soon. But it was an absolute pleasure to chat with you guys and chat about some things that are coming up or have already come out or things that I've sort of come across the last week or so. So no more questions, sir. All good. So yeah, I'll just let anyone who's like madly writing anything. Cool. Thank you, Sam. I'm going to write down that I have to stand up a Discord server. So I will probably do that after the Sunday, or I would do that earlier if I'm a little bit bored. So why I say Sunday is because the campaign that I'm going to run has a session 0. So I have to figure out some things for that and make it clear what's going to happen for the players. And yeah, I think that will be it. But hopefully, I would like to have it up before the next stream next Thursday. Yeah, thanks, man. I will need it. It's always interesting with a campaign 0 because you have something in your mind about how this is going to go, and then of course someone will just ask something completely random and be like, well, I haven't really thought about that, or you know, you might get the vibe that they don't really agree with a choice that you've made. So hopefully it goes well. But yeah, looking forward to it. Should be a lot of fun. And on the agenda for them, creating 2 characters and creating characters with walks of life, with backgrounds. And then what else? What else would there be? And yeah, it'll be just explaining like what is the cycle. So a session happens, what happens at the end of the session or at the start of the session, what happens after the session, and what needs to happen before the next session. So yeah, cool. Well, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for sticking around. And thank you. I hope the stream was all right. And thank you for the conversation regarding what to do if I'm getting like approached by people and what I can do with that and how I can run it. But yeah, thanks, guys. Have a good one. Much appreciated, Sam. You contributed a lot. That was awesome. But yeah, cool. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. See you soon. See you.